Welcome to episode 45 of Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris Baker
and Tom Flynn, a podcast where we take your favorite series seriously. We are back once again with more Alpha Flight than is healthy for a person to consume. I mean, maybe it's just the cruel winter, but yeah, it's done a number on my health, that's for sure.
You know, we have listeners in our personal lives, we have been referring to this as the cruel winter because the hits keep coming and they don't stop coming. And boy, slogging through the end of the Mantlo era has really made the cruel winter crueler.
Well, I would also say odder, because as we've discussed, since we moved away from the Dream Queen arc and Mantlo's relentless pace forward, it's settled down. We've had some really solid issues. So in a way, that's actually been worse because it's been jarring. Instead of getting the same sort of like, okay, here we go again. It's like, well, that felt competent, which makes me feel worse about the things I didn't like. So
damn it, Bill, why can't you be consistently terrible?
However, as of last episode, we are exactly halfway through Alpha Flight Volume 1. There are 130 issues. We covered issues 64 and 65 last time, so we are now in the back half, the back nine of Alpha Flight Volume 1. That's a golf term, Chris, just in case you didn't know.
Well, with only two writers handling the story so far, they have really set the tone, such as it is, on what this book is. But to be fair, setting the tone is literally Carl Potts' job, so I should give the man some credit for doing the best he could.
And boy, does today's issue seem to set the tone for what is coming next. We have James Hudnall coming in next issue. We'll cover it at the end, but they just sort of announced that this is it for Mantlo on this run and in the letters page. And this would not feel like a handoff issue in a lot of respects. This doesn't feel like the end of a person's run that's written 37. I mean, has written the majority of the book at this point. So it's an interesting little handoff there.
In addition to Mantlo leaving after this issue, Jim Lee is already done with the interiors. And he'll only return for a few more covers, and Haynes leaves after the next issue. Carl Potts stays on till issue number 80, and then in the last 50 issues of the book, there are 3 different editors.
Combined with 4 different writers from here on out. So, I mean, like, we've had, for the first half of this book, we've had 2 writers, you know, a fair number of artists coming in and out, but some consistent runs.
That's normal.
Which is very normal, and a single editor. And in the back half, it is
there's been 2. There was Denny O'Neil.
Okay, fair enough. But in the back half, it just picks up pace in terms of turnover and change.
I will have thoughts about that at the end of this issue. Let's dive right into the story so far. Alpha Flight has been cut off from its government funding and has scattered to their respective homes to figure out next moves. This is both a return to form for Alpha Flight as a book, as well as a structure that makes the recaps seem very natural because they're in the form of like letters and phone calls of the characters keeping up with each other. The last several issues have focused on a single member of the team experiencing some form of weird waking dream that was traumatizing and intense. We have seen Purple Girl, Sasquatch, and Madison Jeffries, aka Box, have their experiences, and today's issue is a twofer with Dr. Whitman, quote, Jeffrey, Knapp, and team leader, the totally human Heather Hudson, taking their turn in the bad dream barrel.
It just occurred to me as you're mentioning the letters and the phone calls and how they're all keeping in touch, much like sitcoms stopped working with the advent of smartphones and the iPhone in particular. Could you imagine if Alpha Flight was set today? I mean, for one thing, they wouldn't even rely on Sasquatch's fortune. They would just get into crypto. They would absolutely have an alpha coin. Are you kidding me? Alpha coin would blow the fuck up and they would be set. They'd be great. Also, however, I feel like Heather would choose to murder the Purple Girl for how she texts, how she communicates. It would drive Heather up a fucking wall. Nothing but gifts. Nothing but gifts.
I think that Purple Girl's power would not work as well now as it did then, because you don't have people coming together in physical spaces where they can smell her pheromones and be controlled. She doesn't have the ability to do this through Instagram, you know? And that would greatly limit her reach because there are people who are more powerful than her who can activate more people to do what they want through TikTok than Kara will ever be in the physical presence of in the year of our Lord 2026.
That's why Kara would start a perfume line.
That's genius, Tom. I slow clap. The slowest of claps for my friend.
On that note, I guess are you ready to close out Mantlo? It feels weird to say that, but you ready for this?
Oh, am I ever, Tom? Alpha Flight number 66, titled Killing Me Softly with His Word Processor. Cover date, January 1989. Writer is Bill Mantlo. Penciler is Hugh Haynes. Inker is Jerry Taliok. Letterer is Janice Chung. Colorist is Bob Sharon. Editor is Carl Potts. Associate editor is Mark McLaurin. And Tom DeFalco is head of the class.
When does he go? When does he go? That's my question.
No, Tom, the script says, okay, DeFalco, I'll allow it. We're supposed to give him some grace on this.
You know what? Much like the content of this issue, I don't have to do what is laid out in front of me in the script.
Oh, you're taking it meta.
Taking it meta.
Oh.
Before anything else, I once saw a picture of a food booth at a fair with a banner that read, "Grilling meat softly with his tongs." And I still don't know how I feel about that.
I sell an embroidered apron that says, all men are cremated equal. It's very popular with dudes who run a smoker grill. Really gets the joke across, you know?
On the cover, I have no further response to that. On the cover, a text box promises Alpha attacks. Alpha? With a question mark and an exclamation point, which I hope
Just like us!
Yes, just like us. Oh, God. Oh, God. Box, Vindicator, and Sasquatch are in some generic techno room attacking Manikin and his alternate selves. And we all know that when Heather decides to attack an Alphan, or in this case a Baden, she does it to kill. And you know what? Man, Mantlo, if this is how you decide to go out, taking Manikin with you. Shit. So much respect for that.
If I'm going, he's going with me, and everybody else is like, okay.
Chill. Awesome. But man, unfortunately that's not where it goes.
Well, editorial team and cover, you have my interest. Even if I had bailed a few months ago, I would pick this up just to see what made Alpha Flight come to its senses and attack Whitman fucking Knapp.
It's amazing how different the intonation is when you use an F-bomb in the middle of his name, of Knapp's name, versus when you say Michael fucking two young men. And not just because of the double entendre, it's just a very versatile word. I mean, it's many things at once. It's a verb. It can be a noun. It can be an adverb, a gerund.
It contains multitudes, right?
Splash page open of Whitman Knapp in a lab in a hospital, one would have to assume. I mean, that's what it looks like.
It doesn't matter.
He's wearing green scrubs.
A green jumpsuit, not scrubs.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be scrubs.
There's a belt.
Chris, we've established...
It's a one piece. It looks like what he was wearing when he was over with Scramble, because I was thinking about building this up into a thing, and I specifically looked. No, he's not wearing scrubs. In fact, nobody's wearing scrubs.
So this is my point, though. We've gone over this a number of times that Mantlo might not understand actually how old you have to be a surgical intern or what hospital scrubs actually look like. Okay?
Yeah, this is not the TV show Scrubs. You know, this is Bill Mantlo, a New York City public defender lawyer.
Who should know what they look like, but here we are. Moving right along. So he's wearing what apparently someone thinks Scrubs looks like, hanging out with his alternate selves, reading a comic book, no less, and a narration box says,
in this issue, an Alphan dies.
And Knapp says out loud, if it's me you're talking about, pal, guess again.
What? That's not his voice. On the next page, there's a narration box that says, pardon me.
And I believe this is the moment where we should let you guys know that a lot of this issue is monologue and dialogue, and it'd be really weird for us just to explain that. So you're about to hear the worst radio play you've ever heard. And you know what? For some of our listeners, no, that's not true. We know the ages of our listeners. You've all heard radio plays. If we had younger listeners, this might be their first radio play, but we don't.
Well, we're not going to be doing proper Foley work, but we'll make sure to read aloud any sound effects written on the page. But yeah, the first act is pretty much a monologue from Knapp to Bill, and then the third act becomes a dialogue between Bill Mantlo, the writer of the book, and Knapp.
Sort of. In that third act, it takes a bit of a turn. And I personally feel like it's both a cop-out and cheating, but I also know why he did it.
I enjoyed it much more than Tom did, I think.
To be clear, I enjoyed it fine. I actually thought it was interesting, and the wrap-up I'll pat myself on the back for guessing something quite a while ago. But I also feel like, I also think it's factually the case that he cheated, but there was a good reason to cheat.
Knapp is hanging out with his alternate selves. Proto, the giant amoeba that is his ancient self, is sitting in the background, and he says, "Geep," because apparently he can talk. I didn't realize that.
I mean, maybe it's just like what it sounds like when he rubs some of his what are they called? Pseudopods, the extensions, together. It makes a geep noise.
You know, they have made Proto look kind of cute in the background here, and I really feel like Proto is one of the missed opportunities to make a hook.
He could,
you know?
He absolutely was set up to be Grogu before Grogu.
Dupe from Ecstatics is kind of like in the same realm as well. Proto could have been Dupe. We'll add this to the list of things that Alpha Flight did first. They did Dupe first with Proto. Anyway, take it away, Whitman Knapp.
After the pardon me narration box, Knapp directly addresses it, saying, "Surprised that I know you're out there. So am I. I'm not even sure how I know what I know. That I'm just a creation of yours, a character in a comic book. Even now that I know, I can hardly believe it. This one of yours, too. It might as well be, month after month, neatly packaged stories about the pride and passion of superpowered people, always in conflict with evil, always fighting, lying or dying at the whim of the writer simply to satisfy your formulaic conception of style or plot." Ooh! That's a fucking burn, man. Like, I feel like I feel like Bill's working out some therapy here.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. That's why we're reading it in. And Knapp here is slapping an issue of Power Pack, and I checked. No, this was not written by Bill Mantlo.
"That's what I am. What Alpha is. What we've been all along, right? Fiction. Creation of whoever you are."
And Knapp's future self, Highbrow, says, "God?"
"Insecure Scribbler, vicariously living out a life of adventure through Alpha's adversity." By the way, Knapp has never spoken like this before. "It seems to explain so many things. Alpha's creation, the horrors we face, the ceaseless succession of battles, the endless deaths, conflicts, and resolutions, all to satisfy some unknowable greater meaning."
Now, this is like 3 panels that take up a third of the 2-page spread, and below that is a glorious 2/3 height single panel poster, is the only way I can describe it, of all of Alpha Flight's history so far. There's the 06 on the left, and they're facing off against their villains, and then the new team is in the mid-center on the right against their villains, with the Great Beasts as the backdrop that holds it all together. It is a really great panel that ties everything together.
Oddly, you can barely see Sasquatch. I mean, to be fair, you can barely see Michael as well, but you can see Michael more clearly. Marina is there, and what's his name? Atuma? Is that the name of?
Yeah. Atuma's given more space than I expected.
Yeah. Puck is flying through the air about... Who is he striking there, actually?
Master.
Oh, I guess. Guardian is shooting Delphine Courtney. Northstar is barely visible. Sasquatch is practically invisible. There, like you see Sasquatch's head and upper torso.
Yeah, between like people's legs.
And it's also white Sasquatch squaring off against the Super Skrull. So it's not even like remotely accurate. But you know what? I'd rather see Wanda on the page than Walt. Like this is the fan
Walt
service
has been erased.
And I am just fine with it.
This is a great love letter to the book so far. And I really appreciated this panel. It is everything that Alpha has done, very satisfying. No notes. Picking up on the next page, Whitman Knapp continues his monologue, which he will continue for quite a number of pages.
This monologue is both expository. It is also absolutely reading the addressee to filth. Like, he is going in. He continues. It explains my creation too, doesn't it? You were in the middle of a saga. You created Scramble, the mixed up... Sorry. You created Scramble, the mixed up man. Yeah, no one can say it normally anymore. And set him against Alpha. But you boxed yourself into a corner. Scramble was too powerful. Your team appeared doomed with no prospect of a future. And so you took a secondary character you'd conveniently planted in the plot and had Scramble inadvertently turn him into a new superhero. Me! And so Whitman Knapp, lowly intern, split into 4 separate beings embodying his past, present, and future evolutionary selves, and Manikin was born. In time, I might add, for Wit, Proto, Ape-Man, and Highbrow to help defeat Scramble, cum Omega, and rescue both Alpha and your ending. So because you need a new hero, you turned me into a freak of nature.
Narration box says, now wait a minute.
You deny it? Highbrow.
As your future self-prime unit, I possess certain mental attributes, such as the ability to scan and detect the presence of other intelligences. Ah, there he is. And Highbrow, through his whatever, he can do whatever the story needs.
Because apparently that's Whitman Knapp's purpose, is to do whatever the fuck the story needs. Like, he is a walking Deus Ex Machina.
But he opens up a window and we see Bill Mantlo sitting at his keyboard of his word processor. And Bill looks up directly into like the camera of Whitman looking at him with a look on his face that only says, huh? Like, it is a look.
And this is one of the moments where, like, look, this is cool. This is actually this is fun. This is interesting. And this is why I'm more annoyed than I probably stated at the beginning.
I mean, the Fantastic Four met Jack and Stan, and they met them in the form of God in their universe.
Well, and see, this is the thing. And this is a thing that I don't have that same frame of reference as you do. And, you know, my interactions with this sort of meta interaction is much more in the literary realm. So it's kind of neat seeing it here. It's also just neat seeing it in the pages of Alpha Flight for also very many reasons. Continuing. So you see, we're aware of you. Aware that you're the one who orchestrates our joys and sorrows, who, sitting safely at a keyboard, decrees whether we live or die. Yeah, I'm on to you, sadist. And as a side note, I once did an event with Irvin Welsh, who wrote Trainspotting, has written any number, like a lot of novels at this point. But one of the first events I did when I took her as events coordinator at the bookstore I was at the time, was with Irvin. And he was being asked about, in the Q&A portion with the audience, he was being asked about what it's like touring for a book when he's already in the midst of finishing another book. And he described it as necrophilia. And I just...
Wow.
And, you know, it was incredible. I can see where he's coming from. But I'll also say a lot of writers that I've met over the years would not necessarily disagree with being described as a sadist, especially by their characters, especially by them. Knapp continues. And I just want to note, I hate how right he is about so much of this. It makes me upset. What else do you call someone who creates characters, breathes life into them, and then kills them?
And the panel behind these words are the graves of Box and Jeffries and their respective bodies. For the Jeffries, we get Omega, and we also get Box, like his normal chubby self in his wheelchair, even though Box was part of Omega. Bill, you should know better.
All the power.
And Snowbird is flying over the body of Orange Sasquatch in the clear coffin, and the less said about this, the better.
All the pathos.
And Aurora flying in the air, but also being herded into the nunnery where she was taken by Loki in issue number 50.
All the passion.
Northstar flying while also being ushered into the realm of the elves at the end of issue number 50.
All the pain.
And Puck flipping around while also wrestling the Dream Queen through the portal.
Lord, what you put us through all for the sake of a story. But then I realized you were even-handed in your own weird way, because you did try to balance the bad times with the good. Having me and the Purple Girl fall in love, for instance. Of course, you also broke us up. I'm in hell. This is terrible.
Moving on. The only way out is through. Tom, we're almost done. We got this, okay? We can do this. I believe in you. I'm here with you. I'm digitally holding your hand and saying, you're going to make it, buddy.
And planning the marriage of Vindicator and Box. Or are you planning to introduce a note of tragedy into that event too? Not that it matters now. I've realized a profound truth. And it seems as though all the good times, all the bad times, never really happened. It made an interesting story, but that's all. And now that I've outlived my usefulness in the greater scheme of things, it's my turn to buy the farm. Right, Highbrow?
Correct, Prime Unit. Witness! And he uses his weird magic future powers to show a printout from Bill's word processor. And the printout says, and so Manikin's pre-evolutionary self Proto, having died at the hands of Vindicator, who'd come to Manikin seeking his medical expertise in removing her rebellious battlesuit, Manikin's other past, present, and future selves perish, leaving Vindicator responsible for slaying her friend and teammate. And I just want to say, not for the first time either.
I like how they're like indicating that this is like rough for Vindicator. I mean, this is Friday. You know, like she had to hit her quota for the week. Knapp continues, and we weren't kidding, y'all. It's a radio play.
It's the entire first act is Knapp talking to Bill Mantlo.
Knapp continues. You degenerate creep. Aside from the way you're planning to destroy me, can't you see the grief you're going to cause Vindicator? What am I talking about? Of course you can. You planned it that way. My death, Heather's guilt, it's all fodder for future stories. Now I realize that, being creatures of your imagination, take what you have to dish out and like it. But somehow, maybe because something's made me aware of you.
Something.
You've ceased to exercise any power over me. That means that I'm free from your control. I can decide my fate on my own. And what I've decided is that I don't like this superhero saga you're concocting. I like life. I have no intention of letting you sacrifice me for the sake of some insipid story. I will not acquiesce in my own demise. I will take no part in any story that ends in my death. In other words, I quit. Get the message, Scribbler? Now let's see you try and tell your story without me. God damn it.
Is this I like it, God damn it? Or
yes, I am so angry that this is you. Fuck it, Mantlo.
It wouldn't be the end if we didn't have to slip one in, you know.
But that was, I mean, here's the thing. That was really good. Like that was really that was really, really well done. And it's even what's even better is that the story immediately turns on a fucking dime into a more standard, the middle part anyways, a more standard story building off of what's come in previous issues. So it's actually like it's functioning right with this meta narrative going on at the same. This is actually a really brilliant comic. Like, this issue is really, really fucking smart. And I'm not upset about that because it's Mantlo. I'm actually like, he's demonstrated that he can write really, really well. This is pretty much my experience of Bill Mantlo is Alpha Flight. I'm frustrated because it's Whitman fucking Knapp that's the centerpiece of this, and I can't even take pleasure in that element of it.
Well, we now enter the patented Mantlo Act 2 shift, and you all get a break from our terrible radio play reading. This act will be the rest of Alpha Flight, and it's kind of a jammed up mess. There's exposition of who's been up to what. There's like a 1.25 page vignette of Jade Dragon that reveals his pursuers are not, in fact, Lady Deathstrike. Whew. But instead a team called China Force, and that's all we get. Just a simmering, unconnected, slowly moving B-plot.
And you know what? If that's your revenge, Bill, like if you didn't want to come off the book and so you like created this super team from the Republic of China called China Force and like phoned in the name, then even more respect. That's
China
phenomenal.
Force! Fuck yeah!
So those other elements aside, the main thrust of Act 2 is that Heather is freaking out because you know how I've been making jokes about how she must smell because she's always wearing her power suit.
Stroking it lovingly.
Yeah, it turns out that she can't actually take it off. It seems to be melting to her Spider-Man symbiote style. And yeah, she's literally freaking out. She's in her wedding dress. And
yeah, like, is this supposed to be the day of the wedding? Why is she in her wedding dress, Tom?
Well, she rips it off to reveal that, she's still got the suit on, and it looks like she's ripped off some of, as you've described it, the sock that goes on top to display the circuitry that makes it work on her right forearm. And yeah, she can't get the suit off, and it's freaking her out, understandably.
So she tears ass out of her parents' house to go find Whitman Knapp, who she is convinced is the only person on Earth with enough knowledge to take this thing off of her. And Tom...
That's an enormous amount of faith in that fuckwit, I gotta tell you.
Of all the dumb things Heather has ever done, this takes the cake. I know why she does it, but... like, her fiancé can melt technology like ice cream in August.
Narratively, there is an argument that Whitman Knapp is, aside from Jeffries, and you've raised a very good point that he should be the one most capable of taking it off, but setting him aside, maybe she just doesn't want him to see her this way or what have you. Knapp would be the next person that she knows best that could deal with this. Although I guess there's really a better argument for Sasquatch because he's also a technological genius. But here's the thing. That's the point. The point is not that Knapp is the best person to do this. The point is Bill Mantlo needs Heather to interact with Knapp because as the cover told us, an alpha versus alpha. You know, again,
and an alpha dies.
And that another alpha will die. So... it's really, I mean, again, taking this series seriously, taking this specific issue seriously, Bill Mantlo is putting in the work. Like this is a masterclass. Like what seems like, oh, of course she's going to go to Knapp. Well, wait, why would she go to Knapp? Oh, the only real reason she has to go to Knapp is because it's been predetermined that she's going to go.
Convenience.
It's phenomenal. It is so smart. And that's why when he cheats later, I get annoyed. We'll get to the cheating. Oh, and as an aside, Sasquatch goes on a bender, destroying a bunch of trees. Cause you know, that's therapy for Sasquatch. Apparently, Wanda and Walt like fight their demons in similar manners, by just deforestation. That's just, you know, I guess if Walt and Wanda have a common kink, it's deforestation.
Wow. I was thinking about Sasquatch going on a bender, and there must be a literal barrel of whiskey involved for Sasquatch to go on a bender. This is not expressly on the page, listeners. We're just... look, Sasquatch is out in the woods, like, savagely knocking down trees and trying to kill the ghost of his ex-wife, in her mind. We've been saying his too much, Tom. Because the white Sasquatch looks like Walt, you know?
I take some objection to this. This is actually probably, like, aside from some other an element we'll get to, this specific scene bothers me because at the end of Wanda's issue, when she walks away from her fortune, she doesn't even get ruled against. She simply gives up and says, keep it. I don't want it. We'll figure something else out. It's not that she's at peace per se, but for her then to end up in the woods ripping shit apart, trying to kill a ghost of Ronnie, doesn't quite narratively make sense to me. But hey, they just needed to make sure Sasquatch was in the issue. And that's
nothing about this book is supposed to make narrative sense. And so the less narrative sense it makes, the more it makes sense. God damn it, Mantlo. Why can't you be consistently terrible?
Or just this good. I mean, this is good. Damn it.
Well, while out tearing down trees, Sasquatch finds a literal gold mine, thus solving some of Alpha's problems.
Well, I mean, maybe. Like, how much... We don't know how much gold there is. Like, again, narrative convenience.
Well, to quote the band Puscifer about solving Alpha Flight's problems, it'll take a lot more than words and guns. A whole lot more than riches and muscle.
Is that the first time that Puscifer has been quoted on this podcast?
I think so. Yeah.
Are you just trying to get your wife to listen to the podcast?
No. The latest Puscifer album verges on terrible. I was not pleased. However, that quote comes from the song Humbling River, and I highly recommend everyone check it out. It is one of their most accessible and awesome songs. The other is The Remedy, where they say, bitches get stitches, trolls receive 86s. It's delightful. You talk like you've never been smacked in the fucking mouth, and that's okay. We have The Remedy. Puscifer is definitely Maynard's most accessible project until this latest album that's a whole lot of beeps and bloops and weirdness.
Our Puscifer aside, we now begin Act 3, the big action scene of the book. Act 1 was mostly that monologue from Knapp where you got to listen to me do, well, more voice work of Knapp than I ever expected. I probably just did more Knapp than I've ever done of, like, fucking North Star. And
yeah, I think this is more words than Knapp has said literally in the rest of his appearances of Alpha Flight put together.
Annoying in its own way. So Act 1 was mostly that monologue from Knapp to Bill, so it's pretty simple, but, you know, we're about to have a running battle through a hospital, which means we get to make sound effects. Yeah, back to that terrible radio play promise.
So Heather tears ass over to, it says here, Ontario General Hospital.
That feels, I gotta tell you, like a phone in. Ontario General Hospital, I'm sure probably could exist, but come on, give us an actual hospital at the time. Like make it a little bit tastier, you know, at least for the Canadians.
It's like in the Tick cartoon when they ask him his name while he's traveling incognito, and he says, Nick Soap Dish, and he says, that sounds made up. And he's like, no, that's totally my name. And he's like, all right then, and just lets him in the country. My sister used to use the screen name Nicole's Soap Dish because of that scene.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which sister too. I just want to point one thing out, that in this hospital battle, Alpha Flight via Vindicator and Box kill so many people. It's not on the page, but they are flying at a high speed with force fields on and like Box with his thrusters going, and they're going down the hallways. There are gurneys. There's a scene. There is an explicit panel. Yeah. Where a blonde woman goes chin first into the floor in a way that if she survives, bare minimum severe whiplash, possibly paralyzed from the neck down from the way she goes down.
Definitely a broken jaw. She may have bitten part of her tongue off.
I mean, it is all they're demonstrating right now is that Canada shouldn't want them. Like these are not the actions of a superhero team.
So Heather comes zooming into the hospital with a sound effect that reads,
Screek!
And right behind her is Box flying through like the shattered doors of the hospital into a hallway, which is a very small space for a really big robot. And he's got his boosters blasting, which have to sound like
right. Everyone's eardrums are burst at this point. He's probably far enough behind Heather that like people who like hit the floor when she came tearing through probably stood back. Covering. Well, some of them are probably still ducking covering, but the more enterprising ones probably stood back up and then got like crushed by Box, like turned into like liquid.
Oh man, yeah. So we come tearing ass down the hallway, knock everybody down like bowling pins twice.
Heather calls out, "Whitman, where the blank are you? I need your help."
Now, I wondered as I read this, Tom, what did she say there? Did she say where the hell or where the fuck?
Oh, it's fuck.
No, it's hell. Heather would not say fuck.
Okay, if you want to insist that she's as Irish Catholic and upbringing as she is, fuck is far more likely than hell.
Excellent point, as well as my repost, which was going to be against me, but now is going to be used against your excellent point, which is Heather is acting out of character. So if Heather is acting out of character, she would have said hell. Checkmate, Tom.
Knapp is hiding out in a locker room or a storage closet. Kind of hard to tell.
I think it says storage room.
Oh, it says storeroom on the ground. That's actually really funny. That's a funny thing for like
Bill Mantlo wrote a funny joke.
Why would it say storeroom on the ground? That was absolutely a deliberate insertion. Shit. Oh, this is such a good issue. Knapp thinks, and if I help you, if I follow the script and save you from your rogue battlesuit, the louse who's writing this melodrama will have you kill me.
The narration boxes come back and say, Dr. Knapp, this has gone on far enough. I promised on page 1 that an Alphen would die this issue, and die one shall. If you refuse to comply with the dictates of my tale, then another Alphen may have to perish in your place.
Who? Vindicator? Box? You wouldn't.
Try me. More Box and Vindicator flying through the hallways, knocking down unnecessarily attractive nurses in unnecessarily stereotypical nurse costumes. Did nurses dress like this in 1989 in Canada, Tom?
That I don't know, but not knocking down nurses the way Walt would have wanted to. Hey-o! Anyway, we get some unnecessarily heightened, barely comprehensible conversation between Box and Heather about how...
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
How her suit won't come off and...
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. She blasts him through the wall with the sound effect.
That was good.
Thank you. The wall that Box burst through happens to be the wall that Whitman Knapp was hiding behind. And the narration boxes say, you see how easy it was to bring the story to you, Dr. Knapp? Now, choose. Will it be your friends who die or you?
Now, see, what I would love here is if there was actually a bit of a thought bubble from Knapp about how that doesn't make sense with the architecture of the hospital, that the writer actually altered the physical space to force them together. That would have been really cute. But
that would have been A+ from this regular A.
This is an A. This issue is in fact an A.
It might even be an A+ even without that.
We'll see.
Well, Madison phases out of the armor, tries to affect the battle suit. For narrative reasons, he can't. Heather's suit is trying to kill him the way that his suit was trying to kill her last time. That's the lowest point of the issue for me.
Parallelism.
But it's all part of that narrative convenience. So, like, any bad part of this issue is part of the narrative convenience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, but it's not, that's all. There's a way in which that's always true, but like, it's just both cute and clever here for once.
Well, as Heather stands over the injured Madison having taken a blast from her and yells for Manikin, the narration box says, well?
Knapp responds, I won't go out there. You can't make me.
I've already demonstrated how I can bring the plot to you. Now, let's see what else will take to get you to follow the plot. Another assault on the now helpless Mr. Jeffries?
No!
Oh, yes. And there's another assault, blah, 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 blah.
With a really great sound effect of shriyow! Knapp then says, curse you, writer! You win! Partially. Your plot says that Proto will be destroyed trying to eat the battlesuit off Vindicator, thereby destroying Ape-Man, me, and Highbrow as Proto's evolutionary successors. Jesus, he just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Well, the script's just been changed, you murderous maniac. Ape-Man and Highbrow will carry the light, while Proto and I get the heck... The light? Anyway. Proto and I get the heck out of here.
Editorial prerogative from a character? Highbrow says, well, let's see where that takes us. The Prime Unit has sent us to help you, Vindicator. I love Keanu voice for Highbrow.
Ape-Man says,
Gurk.
And then Heather chimes in with, how can your advanced intellect or Ape-Man's brute strength get me out of this battlesuit, Highbrow? I mean, like, I appreciate that Heather talks to the other forms of Manikin like they're people. Like, that's okay. Good on her.
All right. So, yeah, the next thing that is said is Highbrow saying, the Prime Unit has a valid reason for not putting in a personal appearance, Vindicator. Namely, he doesn't want to die. All right, now hold up. All right, so if killing Proto kills all of them, and if Knapp is concerned about dying, if Ape-Man is here, and Ape-Man dies...
No, I was thinking about that.
Like, okay, so...
The only one that should be fighting right now is Highbrow.
Yeah, so why isn't Highbrow the Prime Unit? He can actually do stuff. Other than bringing the other dudes here... Manikin's just a dude with questionable judgment. Why is he in charge? Why doesn't Highbrow show up and say, thanks for bringing me in, brah. Now here's what we're going to do, all right? Why isn't Highbrow the Prime Unit?
It's a point.
Anyway.
There is a panel where Heather seems to absolutely blast the shit out of Ape-Man, but fortunately not... For her, I mean, it's unusual. She must just be, like, distracted because she didn't kill him.
Yeah, listeners, this scene is why we didn't, like, try to actually do Foley work. There's a lot of fighting here, and Ape-Man just pounding on the battle suit, and we thought that it would get really distracting.
True to her typical form, Heather states, I need help, and I'll get it, or Manikin will. Everyone's a nail, and she's a hammer.
It's not impossible for her to say this. It just is heavy-handed. And the narration box says, doesn't sound like the Vindicator you know, does it, Doctor?
Hard disagree.
I can make the battlesuit warp her mind, undermine her reason, make her regard a friend as a foe. As she closes in on Box, who says, baby, suit's made her nuts. Gotta go after her, find her before she finds wit. That's called plot tension.
Yeah, I can't deal with Jeffries being self-aware like that, too. Also, this idea that that the writer has to make it the battlesuit that's doing it as opposed to, I just decided, is like, come on.
Heather has killed teammates before.
This is where Knapp would be like, come on, dude, just like own up to what you're doing, man. Like, it's not that hard.
So Box transforms into like this wheeled thing instead of flying with his rocket boots going through the hallways of a hospital, which are big but not big, you know?
Hey, he has arms on the front of it to move people out of the way. This is way more responsible. Way more.
Oh, you're right. Actually, I hadn't noticed that on the first read through.
Oh, that was the first thing I looked for because it looked like he was about to run over some people.
At the speed he's moving, the way that those things are moving.
Oh, they're broken bones. Like they're
air quotes moving them out of the way. They're just smacking the shit out of people.
Yeah, they're just not. Look, they're not dying. Okay, like that's an improvement.
And I think this is the same hallway that they had just gone down. So these are the same people who are already dealing with injuries from avoiding or being hit by this couple of superheroes, you know? As they're tearing ass through the same innocent bystanders they already tore ass through, Box thinks, is this more of that supernatural manipulation of Alpha I'd begun to suspect before? If so, how do we deal with such a foe? And I gotta tell you, it's the worst foreshadowing, and it's, I think, the lowest point of this book is this panel, because it gives away the whole thing at the end. It's like in The Good Place when Ted Danson says, Jason figured it out? Jason? Oh, this is a new low. This one hurts. Man, Box figured it out? Oh, this is a low. This one hurts, Tom.
Heather eventually tracks down Knapp, corners him in what looks like another storage room. Lots of fragile boxes labeled fragile do not drop in this room, which is
sounds explosive.
Well, also they all have like images of like champagne flutes on them.
Oh no, that's the fragile thing. You've never worked in a stockroom.
No, A, I have. B, I forgot.
Well, the narration box says, your moment of truth, Doctor.
Following the narration box, Heather and Knapp start to talk. Heather's demanding assistance, and Knapp keeps talking to, well, the Scribbler, which is confusing as hell to Heather. Knapp says, oh yeah, there's a creep who's engineered this entire situation simply so that you can kill me. He probably thought I'd make a great cover scene. To which Heather says, Whitman, you're not making any sense, and I'm running out of time. I can feel the battlesuit sinking its neural circuits into my very soul. Either you get it off me or else. Following which, Whitman, dodging Heather's blasts, which sound like shrow, thinks to himself, what do I do now? Fight? She'd kill me for sure. Back to your point. The fuck does Knapp bring to the table? But that's not the writer's plot. It's Proto she's got to slay so that all the rest of me can up and vanish. Can the writer alter the plot at will? In the middle? Or dare I rely on some sort of editorial oversight, forcing him to follow the story he submitted to his editor? Hey, Carl, go fuck yourself, is what Mantlo just said.
Uh-huh. And your new little assistant, Mark. Narration box continues. Obviously, Doctor, you've never heard of improvisation.
The very next panel starts with one of the fucking weirdest things I've ever read in a comic. And I've been reading a lot of Alpha Flight, so that takes the cake. Heather says, I've never had to force a man into undressing me before, Doctor. This is your last chance. What in the actual fuck?
No, this is uncomfortable. I need an adult, Tom.
Well, fortunately, your adult comes in the form of Knapp's earliest form. Proto drops from the ceiling onto Heather.
The sound effect, once again, is geep. Apparently, that's what a Proto sounds like.
Knapp screams, Proto, no! You blank. You've won. This is the end.
And Heather says,
of my nightmare? Thank you, Doctor. And Proto.
And Proto has a sound effect going, because apparently Proto eats shit. Like, I don't think we've mentioned it on the podcast because Knapp's powers have barely been explored.
There's an earlier panel in here where like Knapp's alternate forms are like going ape shit in the hospital. This is when he was declaring that he's out, he's not following the plot line, etc. And while Ape Man and Highbrow were like blowing holes through walls or destroying shit, Proto was melting something. So like.
There was a panel of Proto like cuddling up with Laura and them like having a very playful, friendly relationship that happened all in between, like off panel. But there was this glimpse of it. Like Proto should have been Dupe, which was the Mandalorian, but without being a baby.
I'm uncomfortable with this because that would make Whitman Knapp more of a mainstay, and I just don't need that.
Agreed.
I don't need that. I don't need it. Apparently, Proto simply ate or dissolved the command circuits on the battlesuit, which is
what the initial script called for when Proto dies, except he didn't.
He didn't die in the process. He was able to successfully do so, and now Heather's able to take off the suit.
So we have an unreliable narrator, as well as all these other layers of what's going on.
Can you imagine how she smells now that the suit's off? Jesus fucking Christ.
So, once again, Once again, like, I can't count the number of times Box has flown off carrying Heather with a sound effect that must sound like...
Maybe he didn't kill as many people as we thought because he takes off right next to Knapp and Knapp is fine. So maybe there's something about their repulse. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
It's comics.
Yep. Also, before we close this out and close out with Knapp's final thoughts, and Chris, is this the last time I'm going to do Whitman Knapp?
No.
God damn it. Anyway, am I going to get a reprieve for a bit? Okay, great. So before I
take our wins where we get them, Tom.
So before I take a break from Whitman Knapp for some time, having channeled him for entirely too long this episode, Box makes the point that using boxes as well as JMH's designs, he can rebuild the battle suit for Heather so that it's no longer a threat because it won't be based off of. And here's my thing: there's an obvious reason why the battle suit would want to like consume Heather, and it's because it's made out of Delphine Courtney.
Yes,
and they never address that. Like, if there's a ghost in the machine, as Box puts
that's what he says.
If there is a ghost in the machine, it's not JMH and it's not Box. It is 100% Delphine Courtney. Like, I'm sorry, it just is. But
yeah,
no,
you're 100% on this, Tom.
We have the closing 3 panels with Whitman Knapp, as well as his past and future selves. We lead off with Highbrow.
They're gone. It's my favorite Highbrow line in the whole thing. There's no reason for him to say this. They're gone.
Then Proto.
Geep.
Followed by Knapp. Ape-Man just doesn't speak. Yeah, I know, Proto. And we're still alive.
Well, this is when Ape-Man says, Gnurk.
Knapp thinks, so what happened? I feel like a puppet.
And the narration box says, in a different color, you are.
Like a dreamer awakening from a nightmare.
Narration, I lied.
I felt this way once before. If it means what I think it means, the dream quit.
Manikin, no jumping the gun. I've planned this too carefully, manipulated you, each one by one, building power, and soon I shall reap my reward.
It might... I've lost my train of thought. Oh well. Couldn't have been too important. Could it? And that is the end of Bill Mantlo's run on Alpha Flight.
Oh, God damn it, Bill. Why can't you be consistently terrible?
I thought he broke me at earlier points. This isn't competency. This is good writing. And this is where I say he cheats because he pulls a fast one on us and changes it up such that it's not actually interacting with Bill Mantlo. It's actually interacting with the Dream Queen, et cetera, et cetera. And, I said that I found it annoying. I don't. It's just really smart. Like, it's really smart. It's really well done. It's really well accomplished. And it's frustrating as hell. Because imagine.
If he planned out, 6 issues.
Or if it was actually...
that's what we just had. We had 6 issues that got planned out. Can you imagine if he had done that for his whole fucking run?
Or what was it? Was it editorial oversight? Was it...
It's the new format they promised. And what they mean is, we're going to put a collar on Bill, and we're going to snap the leash, and Bill is going to make things happen differently. And even though we complained about how it felt like he wasn't comfortable with this, he did great stuff with the constraints he was given.
He crushed it. He did an amazing job. This is, y'all, this might be my favorite Alpha Flight issue. It is up there. There are some from the Burn run that I probably would put it in conversation with. Favorite issue is hard, right? I think that changes and it can shift over time. This is 100% in conversation with a couple of Bill's issues, a lot of Burns issues, hopefully some of the issues that are to come. But right now, and it's not, I don't think it's just recency bias. This hit really, really well. And it did it with a character that I despise.
When you say it's in conversation with all these other issues, I think that is what makes this really stand out from the way that some of the Byrne issues that we might point to and say, hey, that was a great issue. That's not in conversation with anything else. It's a standalone story, establishing character, building world, and doing very different things than what this issue just did. It's something, man. I'm sure Carl Potts looked at this on his desk and was like, man, where's this guy been?
He says, motherfucker is what he says.
Yeah, where's this guy been?
And then, on the letters page, after an unprecedented 37 issues as Scriptor Supreme of the Alpha Flight Chronicles, we bid a fond farewell this issue to writer Bill Mantlo. He has kept Alpha hopping for over 3 years now, and we're sure that you're sure he'll be missed. Bill's moving on to other projects, so watch for his name in upcoming issues of Marvel Fanfare and Marvel Comics Presents. Those of you who are currently enthralled by the current Dream Queen saga storyline needn't despair either. Apparently we're not out of it yet. Next issue marks the penultimate climax. That combination of words actually pisses me off.
Yeah, agreed.
As we welcome new writer James D. Hudnell, known in the world of direct sales as the author of ESPers and current scripter for...
Oh, I read that as Espers.
It's probably... Who cares? And
who cares?
Current scripter for Strike Force, Morituri. And now we return to our regularly scheduled letters page, the first letter of which is, Dear Alphans, I have one request. Bringing back Elizabeth 2 Young Men. Please, till Purple Girl becomes Lavender Lass. Make mine marble.
Oh, and listeners, in case, if you're not reading along with us and you're not reading the letters pages are consumed with people asking for the Purple Girl to be renamed Lavender Lass. And I get a kick out of that.
But apparently the crossover between Alpha Flight and Legion of Superheroes is incredibly strong. Which makes some sense.
Well, I didn't like I said, how Box foreshadowed this by talking about how they were ill-equipped for a magical user. They have been a very brawler-heavy team for all of Mantlo's run. And he makes a very valid point that, yeah, we are not well prepared to deal with anything magical right now.
I mean, they're barely prepared to deal with anything like technological.
Well, they got Madison just magically dismantled the technology.
I suppose, but that's also led to them being blasted into space.
Well, no, that was magical. That was Great Beast stuff, and it was his technology that both melted tundra and shot them into space and set off their problems with the government and really kicked off this whole last era.
Do not lay their problems with the government on Madison's feet. That is a load of shit. That's not accurate whatsoever.
The government would have happily made Madison the leader again if he would have just licked the boot,
No, I'm not saying that's not true either. I'm just saying that it's not Madison's fault.
Madison will lick many things, but boots are not one of them.
Unless they're covered in, motor oil.
No, they have to be metal boots covered in motor oil.
Okay. Did I stutter?
You know what? I feel like we've lost the thread. Tom, I was wondering, where do Manikin's other selves go when they're not here? Do they have lives? Is this like a flashback thing where they get plucked from what they were doing? Or do they exist in a void? Is it Star Trek transporter rules? Does he recreate them every time they are summoned?
I think I get the feeling that Manikin is literally manifesting them over and over again, but over time. They are remembering and have discrete experiences where he brings them in, and then they go back to their own time.
Oh, okay. Their own time where they have a life?
Which makes even less sense when it comes to Proto.
See, I imagine them just blipping out of existence. It's not like when Rick Jones would clang the nega bands and he and Captain Marvel would swap, and Rick would just spend the next 8 hours or a day or whatever just floating through the negative zone, hoping that nothing bad happens to him because he's completely helpless. I don't see them existing in the void like that. I see them just ceasing and then coming back.
Well, I wasn't saying it, in the void. I mean, I think popping back into their own timelines. Like, I think he's ripping them out of their timelines. They're interacting and they go back again.
Like, how come Knurk never, like, shows up holding a pterodactyl wing or whatever? Like, you know, like, people are going to miss them.
He didn't bring the pterodactyl wing, and for all we know, it's, like, instantaneous.
You know, I think we've already spent more time thinking about how Knapp's powers work than Bill ever did.
Or anyone at Marvel. You know what? I'm not laying that one at Bill's feet. He made the character. Someone okayed it. Probably Carl
Fair
Potts.
Enough.
We can get pissy about Bill Mantlo all we want.
I will say that when he said an Alphen will die and he invoked the holy number 12, that was a lie. He cheated about that because no Alphen died in this issue.
Yeah, that's the point. Also, Knapp is not an Alphen.
That is exactly the shortcut.
Heather is free to kill any Baden she wants whenever she wants because it doesn't have to land an issue 12. The thing I wanted to pat my own back on is that a few episodes ago, I brought up Bosque, philosopher, writer, all that good stuff. Miguel de Unamuno's novel Mist, in which the protagonist meets with his author, Unamuno, in the penultimate chapter and asks why the hell he's doing all the terrible things he's doing. Because that's not who he is. That's not. And I believe I brought up in the context of Knapp and characters doing things that maybe they wouldn't do if they were actually people, or just seemed like narrative convenience. Yeah, I made that statement. We did that episode. And then I think later that week it was that Chris was reading ahead in order to plot out the next few beats, next few episodes. And he tells me, hey, in Bill's last issue, he and Knapp have a conversation. My text back is, what do you mean they have a conversation? And he says, yeah, they literally talk to each other. I'm like, so I was right. He goes, you were right. So I was right. I don't know how I feel about that, but
take the win, Tom. Take the win and run.
We have already spent a lot of time talking about our feelings about Mantlo's run, inconsistencies, the way he's treated certain characters, how it kind of went off the rails even harder after issue 50, and then how it kind of changed in the last few issues as he was winding it down, at least his involvement in it. This last issue is such an oddity, is so different from everything else that's happened in Alpha Flight to date, and yet is somehow perfectly Alpha Flight. This is a series that just doesn't quite fit any particular mold. So the idea that a character would suddenly start talking to the writer, and then by the end of the issue, it'd turn out that it's actually been the same villain that's been working their way through that we thought was disposed of issues ago, but has been influencing ever since. Like that's a weird and really interesting long play. And it's also very clearly an Alpha Flight kind of thing. And I'm not going to say that I love Bill Mantlo's run. I'm also not going to say that I like 100% love John Byrne's run. There are things about it that I loved quite a bit more than Mantlo's. I want to say, though, that I think Bill Mantlo did some really interesting things along the way. I think he really got some characters incredibly wrong as well, but he never exactly left us with nothing to talk about. And I really hope that moving forward, the subsequent writers, artists, and editors will continue to give us things to talk about, good or bad. That's the nature of a serialized story. It's not always going to be 100% perfect, but Mantlo delivered something. And I gotta tell you, this last issue he delivered is really, really something.
As I look over the Mantlo run as a whole, it may not always have been good, but I will say it has never been boring. It may have been predictable in spots. It may have not hit the mark for what we wanted, but it was never boring. It might have retread places, but it retread things in ways I didn't mind. Like, Tom, I enjoyed this more than I expected to. And that's all I can say about it. Like, it really ended on a really good note.
And you know what? Ultimately, Chris, the ending matters a lot. You you can circle the plane all day, but you better know how to land it. And I don't know if he 100% landed it perfectly, but he landed it well.
No one died in this landing. He sullied this.
He clearly handed this off as well and as cleanly as he could to the next writer. But on top of that, his last issue was probably his best issue. And that's not a bad way to go out.
Who could ask for anything more, right? Well, thank you very much, Bill. We've had a great time sometimes. And all in all, we appreciate the work you put in. We appreciate where we ended up. And what you added to Alpha Flight and their whole story. Because you have shaped more of it than anyone else at this point in time. And you know what, Tom? I still love this book.
And you know what, Chris? Really still wish he didn't create Whitman Knapp. Why Not Read Alpha Flight is brought to you by listeners like you who support our Patreon and by the Excelsior Embroidery Company, a subsidiary of the Roxxon Corporation, celebrating 26 years of being the leading provider in vote counting technology. This week, Excelsior is proud to feature a new Venture Brothers patch of Brock Sampson. It's the first new addition to the VB line in quite some time, and there are more coming, so be sure to follow the shop at excelsiorembroidery.etsy.com. where listeners of Why Not can use the coupon code WN503 to get 50% off any 3 items in the store. And this is not quite part of the commercial, but I just want to say a hearty thank you to my buddy Chris, who will be participating in the primaries in Illinois tomorrow as an election judge, doing his civic duty, doing his best to help his community conduct the most important part of the democratic process.
Oh, thank you, Tom. It's a very long and boring day, but we have made time tonight to get this done so that we keep on track with our listeners, and I will just be sleepy tomorrow as I check in dozens of voters for a primary. Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris and Tom is recorded in Chicago, Illinois, and deep beneath stately Baker Manor in a fashionable neighborhood outside St. Louis. It is written by Chris Baker, edited by Tom Flynn, with additional cat noises courtesy of Teeny the Vocal Calico, and featuring Tom's age-appropriate daughter, sometimes. Our theme song is O Canada by Five Iron Frenzy. New episodes are released every second and fourth Monday of the month at www.thewhynotpod.com and wherever you get your podcasts, where ratings and reviews are always welcome as a way to help our community grow. And we love hearing from our community. You can reach us at Blue Sky, Instagram, and by email at whynotehpod@gmail.com.
And join us next time for the dawn of a new era where James Hudnall takes over as lead writer. And I guess the Dream Queen saga keeps trucking along.
It keeps on coming. The Dream Queen. It's always the Dream Queen here for a while.
Exciting. See you guys next time.